K-pop Demon Hunters was a surprise hit when it was released in June this year. The film tells the story of Rumi, Mira and Zoe, a female K-pop trio who must save the world from evil forces.
This is the battle for hearts and minds. A battle for the fans.
Set against a backdrop of Seoul in South Korea, the animation topped Netflix's global charts with more than 33 million views in just 2 weeks, reaching the top 10 in 93 countries and now claiming the title of Netflix's most watched film of all time. It brought Korean-American star Arden Cho to a new generation of fans and catapulted her back into the spotlight. Cho first gained recognition for her role in the MTV series Teen Wolf before going on to land her first lead role in the legal drama series Partner Track. We sat down with her as part of BBC Global Women to speak about her career in Hollywood, her next projects, the success of K-pop Demon Hunters, and of course, those Oscar rumours. Arden Cho, thank you so much for speaking to the BBC's Global Women. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. So let's get into K-pop Demon Hunters, because that is completely blown up. And now there's Oscar buzz.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
It's incredible. Yeah. Definitely never considered that. Never expected that. But I feel like it'd be really meaningful and special for Koreans and Asian Americans in the business.
Were you expecting such a reaction to the film?
I mean, this kind of reaction, I don't think anyone could have predicted, but I was quite confident that it would do well and that it would be loved. I knew there was an audience for it. I mean, it was like the type of movie I dreamed of having when I was a little girl. And I'm such a big fan of animations, and I felt like the story was good. And once I started seeing the art and the animation and the voices all coming together, and then when I watched the screener with the music, I was like, oh, I mean, it's like slam dunk.
Because you play Rumi, who has, if you want to describe it, a tumultuous time. She's discovering herself, coming to terms with herself, just in case nobody's seen it. Because it's been so big, I'd be surprised if anyone hadn't. What attracted you to that character?
You know, initially, I just was so excited by the entire concept of the movie, right? You hear or you read K-pop Demon Hunters, and how could I not be excited? I've grown up loving K-pop. Demon hunting is, you know, a bit supernatural and fun, and I feel like I've always loved that type of world. And knowing it was an animation, knowing that it was set in Korea, and then getting into this story of 3 female leads who are all strong, funny, fierce, beautiful, but also vulnerable and real and flawed. And experiencing life and growth and love, comedy, action. I mean, what doesn't it have? I mean, what could I not be attracted to? I was really excited by all of it. And I feel like there was a part of me that was, if I could just even touch a project like this. Like I initially auditioned for Celine, and I would have been more than happy to be Celine, just to be a part of it, just to say that I got to be in the first Hollywood animated film with Korea as a backdrop, with Korean leads. So then, you know, to get the call back for Rumi was, I mean, a dream come true.
But it almost never happened because you'd quit.
I had, you know, it's so interesting because I had a show called Partner Track, and that was like, it was like my baby, my first show as a one on Netflix, you know, my first time being a lead of a series, and I think I had given so much of myself, and that show felt like it was just the beginning. It felt like season 1 was just laying the groundwork, and there was so much more to be told. But to have such a abrupt, quick ending felt like just immense heartbreak. And I hit a point in my career where I just thought, you know what? I think that's it for me. I didn't think I could take it anymore. the disappointment, the failure, the feeling of almost like hopelessness. And with Partner Track, there was a moment that I thought, oh, this is my chance. It's me on the poster. This is my chance to hopefully show young Asian American women that we can be the main character, that we can be the lead of our stories. And again, when it was canceled, I thought, oh, I failed, or it's just never going to happen. And I had taken about over a year traveling, doing things I'd always kind of wanted to try. And again, no auditions, nothing. And my agent, who sort of refused to quit or refused to leave, Jennifer, would send me some emails here and there of, hey, what about this? And usually it would be like, no, I'm okay. I'm done. But then she would send me certain things when it was a Korean writer or a Korean director or an Asian writer. And I have such a soft spot for, I guess, wanting to work with people who I feel like might relate with me and like understand that journey. And so I remember with K-pop Demon Hunters, the first thing I saw was Maggie Kang's name, and her last name is Kang. My mom is a Kangshi, so Kangshi means she's a Kang. So I'm a Kang, even though my name is Arden Cho. My like mom side of the family, we're all Kangs. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, she's Korean. And everyone I know who's a Kang is very strong and very hardworking. And, you know, that made me really excited. And so I feel like from then I just knew if a Korean woman is writing the story and telling the story, she's going to tell our story. It kind of sucks to say this, but anytime there's an Asian-led project, people feel like it's a risk, or that it's a chance. And, you know, I know that the creatives behind this project too were sometimes facing an uphill battle. And as often we all are. But sometimes the result or the fruit is even more beautiful from it.
And it definitely has paid off. So do you now consider the work that you've done on the film almost like a calling card for girls like yourself growing up in America, young American Asian girls, to say there are barriers, but you can push through them?
Oh, definitely. I mean, when I read the script and when I sort of broke down Rumi, I was like, yes, her battle is really about her identity and her duality and her being part demon, part human. And though I'm not part demon, part human, for some odd reason, it just felt so comfortable and natural because I knew what that felt like, right? Being born in America, feeling American, but having people treat me like I'm not. Trying to figure out my identity as an Asian American, as a Korean American, as a woman. Like, there's just so many obstacles, which, again, I feel like for so long, it wasn't talked about.
So I want to touch on something that you said about race and America, because it's a conversation that has re-erupted largely down to what's been going on with the immigration, ICE agents. Being Asian American, living in the United States whilst that's going on around you, how does that make you feel?
I mean, it's heartbreaking and disappointing. Immigrants have made America what it is.
Right in front of you. Hey, Arden. Look your mate to the left a bit. There you go.
All right.
This is an array of wonderfulness, childhood memories. What's your favourite out of this collection?
Oh my goodness, it's hard to pick. I mean, I feel like I can't even ever remember being this small. Do you ever feel like you just wake up and you're like, I'm an adult?
Sadly, yes,
Yeah.
every day.
So I'm like, I don't know, well, it's funny because I feel like in the last maybe 20, 30 years, I've been less like this. Like, I feel like I look at this little girl and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so like confident and spunky and I had all this like energy. And then I feel like after about like 6, 7, 8, I became a lot more shy and quiet and reserved and introverted. And I feel like I hid a lot of who I was. And I feel like it took me 40 years to bring back like this little girl. You know, I feel like this little girl, like this little girl, was before anyone had told me that I couldn't be this. You know?
And this one, this is my favourite one.
My very first headshot.
This is apparently 20 years ago.
Wait,
apparently.
This is 20 years ago, my very first headshot.
And look, you've not changed. You've
You're
not
so
aged.
nice.
No,
You are
I'm not
so-
lying. I'm incapable.
Well, I look at it now and I'm like, who is this little girl? I feel like even then I was very wide-eyed and very naive and hopeful and was just like, I'm gonna move to LA and I want to be on TV once. But she did good.
She did very well, not
I'm
good.
proud of her. Yeah.
And then when you look back on baby Arden, tiny girl Arden, teenage Arden, college Arden, and you think of the many steps it's taken you to get to this point, how does that make you feel?
Oh, well, I guess when I see it like this, I feel really proud of her. I feel like I forgot that I was such like I forgot that, look at me, I'm in like every little photo, I'm wearing this little like a different crossbody bag and I'm all fashionable, I'm all smiles, and I think when I was really little, I was like that. And then I think through my like teen years and college years, I got a lot more insecure and unsure about like who I was, and then I was always like small and like little, like this is me right here, like I'm so tiny and like short, and I think I had this like complex about everything. I hated that I looked Asian. I hated that I didn't have blue eyes and blonde hair because that's what was beautiful at the time. And I hated that I was small. I hated that, yeah, I mean, this is one of my best friends in high school. This is Tanya, and look at us, like, I look so little. We're the same age. I was a real late bloomer, and so I feel like I always felt like small, inside and out. And I think it took me a really long time to feel like whole and okay with everything.
Because hate is a really strong word.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And I can honestly say at very different points in my life, I hated a lot of myself. And I wanted to be someone else. And I was not kind to this little girl because I thought this was the problem. My skin, my face, my body, that it was all not right. And again, as kids, like, what you see shapes who you become. And I feel like I just didn't see enough people that look like me.
Oh, look, patterns.
Oh, these? These are just... The rest of you can come out. We're in a hurry.
Oh, you got the patterns. Now you gotta die.
I grew up experiencing so much racism, but I felt like as an adult, I found a lot of peace knowing that a lot of it was because people were uneducated in what it meant to be Korean or Asian. They just didn't know. And if kids don't see someone who looks like me, they don't know. Kids, in my mind, it's like, oh, they didn't know better, right? And now, of course, if like teachers or adults, you know, were bullies to me and I experienced that, you know, now I know as an adult, like, they're hurting people. I mean, they're hurt. They're broken themselves. And so I don't let that like affect me as much. But now, in this day and age, when I feel like the world and people should know better, it is beyond disappointing to say. And sometimes I feel like we feel so hopeless, but it does feel very special that a movie like K-Pop Demon Hunters can bring so much hope and joy and love to all these different communities saying, yeah, this is what it's about. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe that's why it's sort of like this movie of the summer of the years, because we just needed some hope and something to unite us all together and say, maybe we're not, I don't know, maybe we've all lost our way a bit, you know?
Thank you for that, because I know it's a difficult topic for you, talking about the racism that you've received historically.
No, it's just been really, really interesting, the amount of conversations and letters I've received and kind words from, again, other Korean Americans or minorities who are like, this has been such a refreshing moment in time where, for the first time, I'm really proud to be Korean American, and proud that everybody wants to know about our food and our culture and our clothes and our music. And again, we can't take all credit for it. I feel like K-pop really, truly has paved the way. K-beauty has been such a big impact on Korea being loved, but I feel like this movie sort of is the one that tipped it over the edge of everybody wants to go to Korea now.
So true. So let's talk about K-pop.
Yes.
Because you're going on to film other K-pop
Right.
type projects. We'll broach the difficult part first, because there has been a lot of news about how people in the industry are treated and some of the strenuous regimes that they are put through in order to be K-pop stars. When you do your projects, are you mindful of those type of things?
Oh, 100%. I feel like I respect K-pop artists so much. I have so many friends in that world, and I know how hard they work. I know how hard they push themselves to be the best, to be perfect, and it's a lot like Rumi. I thought about them a lot while I was working on this film as well, but in a weird way, a lot of them also choose it. They want it, right? But think about other fields. As women, I feel like in so many industries, you can't just be good. You can't just be great. You have to be better than everyone else to make it. And I feel like in K-pop, it is a bit similar in that sense. And, you know, this project, when it came to me a few years ago, it was the same thing of, oh, this is a really cool story that just shows how strong women are. It's so much more about the psychology behind us, the driving force, the competitiveness that happens, and sometimes, you know, women being a bit pit against each other, not intentionally, but yes, of course, there is darkness and bad things, but I mean, in what industry isn't there? And I feel like probably the toughest thing for Korean artists is there's so much responsibility put on very young people who are like not even prepared to be these huge K-pop idols, having so many people depending on them, looking at them, worshiping them in a sense. Sometimes I feel like people are so tough on artists and athletes and entertainers, and they just forget that we could have a bad day too, right? I remember I was filming when I lost both my grandparents, and I didn't have a moment to really grieve them, you know, and production must go on, the show must go on, and sometimes really tough things happen, and it's hard to be like, hi, can I have a week? Can I have a week to process everything and go? But, you know, I think for women in general, it's really tough. You could just be a leader, but someone will be like, oh, she's so bossy. You could be firm, but they'd be like, oh, she's a bad word. Mm-hmm. But if a man is, they'd be like, oh, he's so assertive. And again, not always with gender, but I do often feel like I've experienced this so much in my career that I have worked with such incredible men that have been really wonderful allies, and they see it. We might clock the same thing, but I know that if I ask, everyone's gonna say no. But if he asks, they'll say, oh, it's a great idea. We should do that. And in a weird way, I'm really thankful for a lot of those men who've been my allies. And I don't need people to know that it was my idea, but to know that the person standing next to me is like, oh, I'm on your side. And we can get through the day together. And I hope we do come to a time when we don't need someone else to speak on our behalf to get something like that through, right?
It is annoyingly catchy, though.
It's infectious. They can make hearts out of thin air? They're
Magicians. I mean, demons. Obviously, demons.
So I want to talk about Hollywood a little bit more. Me Too was huge nearly 10 years ago now, which in itself is shocking. But the new concern for a lot of people in the industry is AI.
Right.
And some people would argue that K-pop Demon Hunters is a prime example of how AI could be used to, whether it's for the animation or the voicing, how it could be used to effectively change the industry. So from your perspective, is it something that you're concerned about, or are you excited that AI could be introduced to make things more realistic or less realistic, or, I don't know, more fantastical?
Again, I feel like I'm always so late on anything new. I'm always last on these new trending apps or new trending things. I still go to the bank and deposit checks because I like seeing my bank tellers. Like, my friends make fun of me because I'm like living in the olden ages. But I guess when it comes to things like AI in acting and music, I want to have hope in humanity that they would still seek out art that has humans behind it. Sure. I'm sure they're going to have AI actors and singers. I know they already exist. I know our voices are already being manipulated, but I hope people have some respect and want and love for something real. I mean, if that's the way it goes, that's the way it goes. We can't control that, but I feel like I'm someone that looks for music that I know is written with heart, recorded with soul. And I hope that for movies the same. And I hope that people would want to hear us, right? That they would want to feel us. Because even though, yes, in animation, people feel like it's so close to that, there are hundreds and hundreds of people who worked on every single frame to make it what it is. I haven't even met them all, but I've met a handful of the artists and the animators and the creators behind this movie. And when we all get together and we talk about it, it is beautiful and so cool to know that maybe 7, maybe 20 artists worked on a single frame. Everyone drew a line. But that's also movies, right? Hundreds of people work on a movie to make it happen. It's unfortunate that sometimes you only see the directors and the actors and the producers and the writers, but there are so many people on a crew behind the scenes that work tirelessly to do what we do. And if people want to take that away or diminish those jobs, or, yeah, I mean, it would make me very mad to say it in the most PC way. Yeah, you know? But it is funny. I did see some rumors that people thought our Huntrix singers were AI at one point because it was so good. But guess what? Our girls are real. And they can sing. And so, you know, in a way, I guess it's a really nice compliment to be compared to AI. But, you know, with all things in the future and things moving so fast, I mean, I can barely keep up. So who knows? I'm going to be hopeful, though.
Okay, fantastic. K-pop Demon Hunters, the sequel. Please tell us there's going to be something, anything, a series, another film, a different story. And will you be part of it?
I wish I could answer that question. I really do. A lot of people have been asking. But I mean, we're gonna have to wait for Netflix or Sony or someone to give us that green light. I know there's lots of murmurs. I've heard wonderful things, so we shall see. And I think everyone in the world would riot if there wasn't. I feel like it'd be the first time you'd see 6- and 7-year-olds like protesting.
So Arden Cho, thank you so much for speaking to BBC Global Woman.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.